11 o'clock.
Yeah.
I call to order the North Aurora Village Board meeting of Monday, January 15th, 2018. We'll open with a silent prayer meditation. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Clerk, call a roll, please.
Mayor Berman?
Here.
Trustee Gafino?
Here.
Trustee Lowry?
Here.
Trustee Curtis? Here. Trustee Carroll?
Here.
Trustee Martinez?
Here.
Trustee Gately?
Here.
I have no audience comments signed up. Trustee comments? Consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Clerk, call a roll, please.
Trustee Gately?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Carroll?
Yes.
Trustee Curtis?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Gafino?
Yes.
All right, under new business, item number 1, Mr. Toth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item number 1 is an ordinance amending the sign ordinance, amending signs in business zoning districts. The Plan Commission, through a workshop, reviewed this in September 2016. A public hearing was held before the Plan Commission November 7th of 2017. The Village Board reviewed this to the Committee of the Whole on November 20th of 2017. And staff is bringing forward the approving ordinance for the night. I just want to make note that in the ordinance itself, in the language, I did eliminate the wall sign height of 30 feet. As the other provisions would suggest, the signs still are not allowed to project above the roof line and not project more than 12 inches from the building itself. There are some taller buildings that would be sort of limited or handicapped by the roof, the wall height site, so I actually took that out of this. So if there are any questions, feel free.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? This will prevent the Trump sign on the side of the hotel, right?
I can't make any promises.
Any discussion? Clerk, call a roll, please.
Trustee Gately?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Carroll?
Yes.
Trustee Curtis?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
And Trustee Gafino?
Yes.
And again, item 2, Mr. Toth.
Item number 2 is an ordinance accepting a bid for purchase and approving of the contract to sell the property located at 24 South Lincoln Way. Staff has been working with someone interested in developing the subject property with a standalone coffee shop and drive-through. The Village Board discussed this concept plan at December 18th and also discussed some of the terms of the sale of the property, also at executive session on that date. There is now a contract being brought forward before the Village Board with a purchase price of $200,000. The timeline is included in the report itself on the cover, and there is a buyback clause. If the project does not happen, we would be able to buy it back at a reduced amount of $180,000. And lastly, the property was advertised for sale by soliciting of bids, and no alternate bids were submitted.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Clerk, call a roll, please.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Gafino?
Yes.
Trustee Curtis?
Yes.
Trustee Carroll?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
And Trustee Gately?
Yes.
And number 3, Mr. Toth.
Item number 3 is an ordinance directing the sale of real property consisting of 1.53 acres located at the northwest intersection of Rand Road and intersection 88. The Opus Group was before us, and they discussed the expansion of the parking lot at the southeast corner of the property to accommodate a tenant. The concept plan and the operations itself of the future tenant were discussed at that time. A letter of intent was submitted, and we'll be discussing the terms of what was discussed at executive session later at executive session tonight. But we're required by law to approve by ordinance a 30-day bid solicitation process. So if the board were to approve this ordinance, we would begin soliciting the property bid with a 30-day period.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Clerk, call a roll, please.
Trustee Gately?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Carroll?
Yes.
Trustee Curtis?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Gavino?
Yes.
Very good. Item number 4, Mr. Laskowski.
Thank you, Mayor. At the last COW meeting, the board had discussed the summer wind traffic control options, and in that discussion, we had talked about putting some stop signs on Hidden Creek Drive off of Oak Street there at a T intersection, and to put some pavement striping down at the exit so we could separate traffic turning to the right from traffic going straight and to the left. In that discussion, we felt that it was the installation of the stop signs was to help people get a better sight lines of traffic coming into the subdivision. And so for those reasons, we're recommending that we pass an ordinance that gives Public Works the ability to install those stop signs, paint stop bars on the ground, and the arrows necessary to turn out of the subdivision safely.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Discussion?
Yes. I wanted to be the one to approve that or make that motion because I myself almost got T-boned there, and as soon as I went in there one time, I came back, I think I mentioned to Steve a few years ago, we need a stop sign there, kind of thing. Very good. Okay.
Very good. You'll probably never drive there again, but
No, I haven't.
will clerk call the roll, please?
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Gavino?
Yes.
Trustee Curtis?
Yes.
Trustee Carroll?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Gately?
Yes.
Item number 5, John.
Item number 5 is a engineering agreement for the 2018 street maintenance program. There's going to be 2 agreements for the street maintenance program this year. There's going to be 1 construction contract, but 2 agreements. And the purpose of that is because we were waiting on results from our pavement condition index study, which would analyze the roads and let us get a better informed idea of which roads we should be targeting for maintenance. So while we were waiting on that study, I had also selected some other small projects throughout town that we would like to include in that contract, but that the engineer would be able to get a head start on. So we're splitting the engineering contracts into 2 to expedite the process and get them working on the parts of the project they can while they wait for the results of the study. In this instance, the small projects that we're looking at this year are going to be the repaving of Monroe Street Alley, the construction of a parking lot between Marvo and John Street against the river, the installation of pedestrian signals at Airport and 31. So if you recall, the Airport Road project the Airport Road was reconstructed last year, and what was lacking was a pedestrian push button that would allow residents of the Asbury facility to cross safely across Airport Road. So we redid the sidewalks there so that it could accommodate people with mobility needs. And the next step of that project will just be installing that push button so it'll flash a sign that will indicate it's safe for them to cross. The drainage improvement at 221 Wildwood Drive is the low spot in the subdivision, and we need to get the water is ponding approximately 2 to 6 inches in the front of the resident's yard, and there's nowhere to convey that water after a large rain. So we're going to be installing a drain that will drain off the sidewalk and make it safe for pedestrians in that area. We're also going to be installing sidewalks in front of Garage 31 and sidewalks on Route 31 at the northeast side of town, where there's an apartment complex over there, and the sidewalk squares, some of them are at about a 30-degree angle, so it's really severe hazard there for anybody that's traveling by foot over there. In addition, this contract's also going to cover the potential of 2 additional items. One of those items, while we're going to be repaving Monroe Street, we're investigating the possibility of lead services being in that area, and if we identify some, it's going to require a little more additional engineering design in order to remove and replace those services. And similarly, we're still discussing the option of placing water main beneath the parking lot proposed at Marvo and John, potentially looping that system. So Right now, this agreement would be in the amount of $85,151.50 with Rempe Sharp. And depending on those two optional items, the replacement of the lead services and that water main, the agreement could be reduced down to $68,545.50.
Motion approved.
Second.
Discussion. Clerk call the roll, please.
Trustee Gafino?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Curtis?
Yes.
Trustee Carroll?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
And Trustee Gately?
Yes.
John, item number 6, please.
This item is also an agreement with consulting engineering firm Rempe Sharp to update the water atlases. It's important to maintain the accuracy of this infrastructure because whenever new development comes in, we want to be able to give the developer an accurate understanding of where our water main is so he can connect to it, he or she can connect to it if need be. We use this data, especially now with MetroNet in town. We have a good understanding of where our infrastructure is so we can convey to MetroNet that information in a way that prevents them from striking any water main that we have in the ground. It's also very important for public works maintenance operations, including valve exercising and maybe even more importantly, leak detection on the water main. So periodically, from time to time, the village will update this map, and the updates come in the form of either new information that we've gathered in the field. It could be from a road construction project like the one on Cherry Tree Drive last year. And it can also be associated with new development, making a clear record of what developers have put in the ground. So in this case, we're requesting $10,950 in order to make the proposed updates to the water main atlas.
Motion approved.
Second.
Discussion. Clerk call the roll, please.
Trustee Gately?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Carroll?
Yes.
Trustee Curtis?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Gafino?
Yes.
Item 7, John.
This item is a maintenance agreement for maintenance of the town center wetlands with Hay and Associates. The wetlands that we're talking about are off of Orchard Gateway. Wetlands are known to be an environmental asset beneficial to the community because they are able to purify any water that runs off into them. The plants in there can remove pollutants from the water. And it's also a valuable asset because it reduces the amount of flooding that occurs in the area by detaining stormwater runoff. In order to maintain these plants and that infrastructure in the wetlands, it takes individuals with special expertise in order to identify which plants are invasive, which ones are valuable, and how to maintain that storm structure or the storm sewer infrastructure in them. So we're recommending hiring Hay and Associates for this project. They've worked on these wetlands since the inception of them, and they've done professional work in the past on them. So this agreement would be in the amount of $21,300 with Hay and Associates.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Clerk call the roll, please.
Trustee Gafino?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Curtis?
Yes.
Trustee Carroll?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Gately?
Yes.
And John, item number 8, please.
Item number 8 is the request to purchase a new Ford Explorer to replace the existing one. The existing vehicle is currently utilized by Village Hall staff and primarily by myself in the summertime in summer and spring to go out and inspect construction sites, carry around survey equipment, and utilize that equipment to perform surveys for drainage concerns. The vehicle is 12 years old. It has 66,236 miles on it. It's a hand-me-down vehicle from the police department. Of those 66,000 miles, probably about 62 or so were placed on the vehicle by the police department. It's my understanding that the vehicle was originally an investigations vehicle, and based on the mileage, using the calculation often used to translate idling hours into miles, the estimated 5,200 engine hours would add up to another 130,000 idling engine miles, which put the total miles of the car up to about 196,000 miles. The vehicle is a little bit rough around the edges. It has, the heat doesn't work real well, the air conditioning doesn't work real well. I had it idling in the parking lot last week for about an hour and a half, and it didn't have the heat enough to melt the snow off the hood and the windshield, so it's seen better days. We took the vehicle to Fox Valley Ford to get an idea and an understanding of what repairs needed to be done on that vehicle. And they indicated that there was a transmission repair that needed to be completed, the radiator was leaking, and the rear brakes and rotors would need to be replaced, but we would do that type of work in-house if we were asked to. The vehicles that we looked at, in order to replace them, we first looked at the state bid process, and the state bid process is a process similar to what we use for the locator truck. The state, every so often, and maybe every year, offers certain vehicles through their process. And so what they do is they solicit a bid out to all the dealerships. Those dealerships submit back their best number to the state, and then the state offers participating municipalities a vehicle at that lowest bid price that they received. In this instance, we took the vehicle, the price we got, which was $25,393, and we took that over to the local dealerships, Fox Valley Ford, and offered them a chance to beat that price, and they were able to beat that by $232 for the vehicle. So we got a price lower than the state bid, which is generally an indication of a good price. We did also look at used vehicles. Some of the websites indicated that the trucks that would be going as used would be in this neighborhood would be about $26,000 for a used vehicle, would have 35,000 miles on it and be 2 years old. And probably the distinction between this purchase and others in the past is we don't have a lot of bells and whistles on this vehicle. There's no need for a lot of modifications, and a lot of the used vehicles actually have more options than we need. And sometimes when you look at that, it's almost another thing you're waiting for to break. So in this instance, a newer vehicle is actually cheaper than what we were finding comparable on the used market. The vehicle is a 2018 Ford Explorer. It has front-wheel drive. The previous vehicle had four-wheel drive. We don't feel that the four-wheel drive is necessary for this particular vehicle for the use it's going to have. So we have in the budget for this year $25,000 for the vehicle. The price, as I indicated, came in at $25,161, so the vehicle price is $161 greater than our budget. But at this time, I'd be requesting the council to approve the purchase of this vehicle, and I'd like to entertain questions that you might have about it.
Motion to approve.
Discussion.
Yes. In the information you gave for us to review, I see here it says it's listing a Ford Explorer that as you described for $23,000. I'm just wondering if you could explain that difference in price. Why? Because the 4x4 was $25,000, and the 4x2, which is what you're saying you're going to get, it was $23,000.
I can, but I don't think I have that. Yeah, that's a quote.
It went a little bit.
Yeah, okay. So the price, the $23,393 was the base price. There were a few options that we did add that got the vehicle price up to the $25,393 that was indicated in the state bid. But when we took that to Fox Valley Ford, we wanted those same exact options in the quote price. So we were comparing apples to apples in that. It was just the additional options. So on the second or third page of that one that you're looking at, I think has the different options you could select. And at the bottom of one of those pages is the tally of the options which were selected for that vehicle.
I saw that, yeah. Okay. That explains it. Thanks.
Sure.
And you're going to get a credit for are you trading in the vehicle or?
Yeah.
This vehicle will go to auction.
Going to auction.
So what is that credit?
I'm sorry?
How much are they giving you in trade for the vehicle?
It's going to auction.
Oh,
We're going to send it to the auction. I think the Blue Book vehicle, the price we had on it was,
2,700,
was it
I
2,700?
think so.
I just want to express, the whole thing between idling hours and running hours and driving hours, to me, seems a little odd, in reality. This is a 2006. I just want to see our vehicles be used in the most we can. I just purchased one truck out there, 200,000 miles, and it's a 2008. I have no objection with anybody that needs a vehicle to supply it, but I want to make sure that our vehicles are being used to the extent of their life, and every mile that we can get out of it is a dollar that we're saving our taxpayers. So,
And that's something that we try to look at too and see the maintenance costs going forward. If they're gonna continue to increase, we try to do our best to make sure that we maintain our vehicles as good condition as we can, but sometimes, as the future maintenance costs begin to add up, it could be more effective to purchase a new vehicle and save the repair costs.
I think it's probably important to mention that because it was a police vehicle, police vehicles are driven in a different manner than, let's say, John's engineering abilities, just carrying stuff to and from a site and not revving an engine, doing 60 miles per hour down a road, slamming on the brakes. You have a different wear and tear on the vehicle. When we
That was in investigations, though, that car, right? So there was probably no 60 mile an hour slamming on the brakes, that they probably just drove it around town to look into things, I'm assuming, mostly.
Well, I like the idea of a different color. You could have multicolored cars and, if you buy a used car, a used truck. No, I think it's, what we're doing is fine. And you mentioned that as far
Yeah, I
as
agree.
used equipment, it could be of a different color and, you'd have to either paint it or live with it, I guess.
Well, and I like the fact that you actually went to our local
Yeah.
dealers and gave them an opportunity to match it, and
Right.
now we're going to get the sales tax revenue too.
Right. No sales tax on that, is there?
Well, what I was going to say is
Not
the
for us.
life expectancy of the car when it's purchased and used by the village hall staff as opposed to starting off as a police vehicle is going to be exponentially longer. So I would anticipate this car could have a life expectancy of over 10 years. So it's just
and
a
that was a
purchase
really
now.
good move.
Would you say 30 years?
I said, possibly.
Any other discussion?
Keeping our business in our
Good research, John.
Clerk, call the roll, please.
Trustee Gately?
Yes.
Trustee Capino?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Curtis?
Yes.
Trustee Carroll?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
And Trustee Gately?
I have no old business, nothing to report from the village president. Any committee reports? Trustee comments?
I just wanted to say the roads are great shape today. Kudos to your team. Did a great job, so, as always, but it's nice to hear it from somebody.
What do
But I
we
had a
have,
chance-
5 inches, 6 inches?
Yeah, it was between, we knew Batavia got 3, Aurora got 5. I think we were right in the middle of there.
But I drove some early in the morning, about 5 a.m., and, I mean, ours are hands down the best, so it was really, really
Yeah.
nice, so.
Very good. Any other comments? Mr. Bosco?
No report tonight, thank you.
Mr. Drendel?
Happy New Year. No report.
Our fire district is not here. Our village department reports, Mr. Hannah, Finance.
No report.
Mr. Toth, Community Development.
Just a couple of things. With the approval of the contract tonight, we anticipate that the coffee shop will be submitting for special use for the Plan Commission for February. We also have the Holiday Inn Express and Orchard Commerce submitting for special use for the February Plan Commission. That would be a 90-room, 4-story Holiday Inn Express. So we anticipate both of those in February. Thank you.
Police Chief Fisher.
No report, sir.
Public Works, Mr. Laskowski.
No report, thank you.
Motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Committee of the whole will start shortly.